वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। We began last week the 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Geetā, Jnana Vijnana Yoga. We gave a general introduction, a preview of the entire chapter called Jnana Vijnana Yoga. This, in essence, promises to give us not only knowledge about God or the supreme truth from a distance, but also such guidelines that would help us have an intimate understanding or even experience of God. Of course, our own readiness is required. Otherwise, of course, many have studied the 7th chapter. Many have listened to profound discourses on the 7th chapter. They may not get the experience. So we say Sri Krishna goes as far as words can go, but then even when the best words are spoken, what about the listener? Is he fully receptive, or is he holding on to worldly attachments? So, but for those worldly attachments, the teachings here can in fact elevate any student to the greatest heights. With this, let's in this second class on 7th chapter enter the shlokas proper. And as we are set to do that, we take a quick look at how Sri Adi Shankaracharya, just in a few words, introduces this chapter with the great sense of context and a sense of where we had stopped before entering the 7th chapter. Bhagavan Bhāshyakara says, Sri Krishna said in the last two verses of the previous chapter, namely the 6th chapter, a yogi is to be adored more than many other categories of spiritual seekers. There are people who take up different kinds of spiritual practice, but a yogi here in this context is somebody who has really made his mind calm. Someone who has calmed one's own mind, someone who has turned inwards truly, is the greatest of all. For those who might be scholars, those who might be into some special kinds of austerities, those who might be otherwise into some complex Vedic rituals, all of them may profess, all of them may claim to be into advanced spirituality. But the one question that we will ask them is, has your mind settled down? Have you found peace? Have you found an inner stability, balance? And if these spiritual seekers who are into enviable practices confess that no, They are not yet at peace with themselves. Some time back, a certain successful businessman in Houston, Texas, USA, made a substantial donation to the Hindu University of America, HUA, in Florida. He made $1 million donation. Everything is relative. It's a big sum compared with many other sums. And there are donations much higher than that also in the world. Whatever, this businessman in his speech says he actually did not know anything about Hinduism. He never understood what Hinduism was teaching him. Though a Hindu by birth, a Hindu by some simple day-to-day practices the family was into, some puja, some arati every day. Let us say at his home, this man confessed that he had never understood Hinduism. But the best part is, in his speech, he says, of late, I have taken much interest. That is how I wish to support the Hindu University of America in Florida. And I have understood one thing, that Hinduism is about being in harmony with nature, being in harmony with people, and being in harmony with oneself. This has been clear to me. Interesting how, after some study, after some discussion, maybe with saints and scholars, it very much appealed to him. It sort of impressed him to see that here is a body of wisdom connected with some practices also, whereby we may train ourselves, we may train our mind to come to terms with what life gives us, to come to terms with all kinds of people and do the best possible while maintaining certain inner calm. That's what Ramesh Udata, that is his name. God bless him, who gave a significant hand of help to the Hindu University, which is conducting lots of webinars, lots of courses, and in fact gives degrees also, degrees in various branches of knowledge of Hinduism. Is doing good work. So that connects well with what Sri Krishna said towards the end of the 6th chapter. More than anyone else, yogi is the greatest and the dearest to me. And then in the 47th shloka, that was the last shloka of 6th chapter, Sri Krishna further qualified the expression yogi by saying that yogi, among all yogis too, that yogi who has found sincere and abiding love for God is the best. Best above all other best ones. So if we may say that. Sarvesham yoginam mam yo bhajate shraddhavan bhajate madgatena antaratmana bhajate. 3 expressions were made. He who adores me day and night, that person may not be much of a scholar, may not be knowing Vedic rituals, may not be into many austerities, but day and night, his heart or her heart is filled with love of God. Mam bhajate, and with great faith, great trust. Shraddhavan bhajate, and then madgatena antaratmana. Deep inside, he is anchored in the sense of I belong to God and God is with me. This Adi Shankara refers to this particular sentiment at the end of the 6th chapter, and that is how he connects the 7th chapter to the ongoing discourse. Let's take a quick look at the simple, just a few words of Adi Shankara connecting Sambandha, or it is called the Sanyoga. It is the way, another Sanskrit word is Sangati. Sangati. Gati means to go. Samgati means going well with what was said before and proceeding in the same direction, developing the thought further. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mata. That's exactly the last shloka of the last chapter. Iti prashna bijam upanyasya. Sri Krishna was a master of art of communication. Even as he concluded his 6th discourse, he sowed a seed of question. Prashna bijam upanyasya. Arjuna would want to know what kind of state of mind the supreme yogi would have if he is described as having God in his heart, having God in the bottom, in the center of his heart. Iti prashna bijam upanyasya swayameva idrisham madiyam tattvam evam madgata antaratma syat ityetad vivakshuhu Shri Bhagavan uvacha. Vivakshuhu. In Sanskrit, there are a number of words which are in English grammar called desideratives. Sannanta in Sanskrit grammar, that is, you see, Vakta means someone who speaks, but Vivakshu means someone who wishes to speak. Who wishes to speak. Nata means a knower. Jijnasu is someone who wishes to know. Same way, Pipasu, someone who wishes to drink. Bubutsu, someone who wants to know. So in the sense of wanting to do something, not done yet. Vivakshuhu. What does Sri Krishna want to say? Sri Krishna, before even Arjuna could ask a question, reads Arjuna's mind and wants to answer it in advance. What kind of answer? If a devotee, if a yogi is having the Lord in his heart day and night, how is that possible? What understanding precedes such behavior on the part of a devotee? For unless we know about someone, we cannot love that person. Certain people who unsettle the faith of traditional spiritual seekers sometimes take a very strange argument. You say you pray God. Do you know God? And the poor man says, I don't know God. So when you don't know God, how can you pray to God? And so on. So people get unsettled. Whereas saints like Sri Ramakrishna have answered that. They said, even a man who says he doesn't know God actually is not right. Everybody knows God to a little extent at least. Everybody has a certain picture of God. God is fair. God is just. God is merciful. God is kind. God is all powerful. Such things even a little child gets to know through parents, through Pura Sanskara, whatever. Well, a common man's knowledge of God might be lacking greater clarity, some vague idea. That is enough. Sri Ramakrishna says, whatever little vague idea you have of God, that is enough to begin. Trust God, love God, and you know Him to adequate extent. You have the starting capital. Nobody is bankrupt. Nobody can say, I have no capital to start this spiritual enterprise. You have the capital. Anyway, in the case of this yogi has gone way ahead. So, because he has gone way ahead, he is able to lovingly remember God no matter what he is doing. In all worldly transactions too, this yogi has a certain link with God without fail. So, Shankaracharya says, Sri Krishna Swayameva himself says, Idrisham mama madiyam tattvam. My nature is like this. And someone whose heart is with me would be like this. Sri Krishna describes. Vivakshuhu, wanting to describe it, that is how Sri Bhagavan Vacha. So now we read the first shloka, which itself is not only beautiful, but philosophically very significant. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayah Asamshayam Samagram Ma Yatha Jnasyasi Tachrunu. Let's read two of them together. For second shloka connects with the first one by providing an important aspect of it. Jnanam teham savidnanam idam vakshyami asheshatah yajnatva neha bhuyonyat jnatavyam avashishyate. So in two shlokas, Sri Krishna makes a beginning of this grand seventh discourse, running into just 30 shlokas. The seventh chapter, mind you, has inspired lots of spiritual seekers and has given them clarity, greater understanding, even has cleared many of their psychological hang-ups or confusions. We'll get into it when the shlokas come up. The first shloka says, referring to such a yogi who is asakta mana. Manaha is the word for mind, not manaha, manaha. That's a neuter word, napunsaka in the shabda. But when it becomes a part of a longer word, a compound, qualifying a masculine word, for this could refer to that yogi, this could refer to Arjuna himself. Arjuna, when you become Mai Asakta Manaha, then Manaha becomes Manaha. As Asakta Manaha means Asaktam Manaha Yasya Saha. One whose mind is deeply attached, deeply in love with God. Mai, Sri Krishna is speaking, God is speaking, so he says, in me, towards me. Someone whose mind is very drawn to me. And accordingly, irrespective of family situations, responsibility, gain and loss, praise and insult, in everybody's life, many things happen. To imagine that a spiritual seeker might be having only a blissful life is very childish. Many spiritual seekers went through 100 times more of adversity than many of us do. In spite of it all, Yogam Yunjan, the devotee, the yogi, the spiritual seeker, is connecting. As you know, the root, verbal root yuj means to connect. Yogam Yunjan, connecting to the spiritual practice or through the spiritual practice, connecting to God time and again. As we advance, the issue of finding time doesn't arise. Whenever there is time, it's not the duration, as Puja Swami Chinmayananda used to say. It is not the length, but it is the depth. You have 2 or 3 minutes somewhere, and in those 2 or 3 minutes, you think of God very lovingly. Like somebody attached to some eatable or some tea or coffee, gets a short break, goes to the nearby, wherever it's available, to the cafeteria, to some corner, and sips some coffee, eats some eatable, biscuits, cookies, something he takes. He has got that attachment. He never says, I never find time to take coffee. He takes coffee 10 times a day. So, because there is attachment. Likewise, Yogam Yunjan, the devotee, through pain and pleasure, connects with God. And Madashraya, Sri Krishna is speaking, literally, Madashraya means having me as the shelter. The yogi has God as his shelter. Narada Bhakti Sutra says the hallmark of bhakti is anyashrayana yagaha. When you are truly devoted to God, in your heart of hearts, you let go of any other refuge. Outwardly, you may be approaching people, you may fill up application forms, you may call somebody. Outwardly, you may ask someone, can you help me? Outwardly, it appears. The yogi also is going to the king in olden days, maybe going to some politician in modern times. In some problem, you go to the police, you go to some lawyer, you go to some judge, you go to some local leader. You do all that outwardly. But inwardly, the devotee is very clear. All this I am doing, but finally, if Sri Krishna wants it, it will happen. And if Sri Krishna doesn't want it, none of these people, none of these offices, none of these chairs of power and position can do anything. It is Sri Krishna who can save me, and I trust him. Mad ashrayaha. Aham ashrayaha yasya saha mada ashrayaha. How such a yogi would know God, and then once there is a knowledge of God, how that supports this constant connecting, and how that constant connecting further strengthens the knowledge, how they are mutually supportive of each other. Yes, you need to have some understanding of God, then you love Him. When you love Him, you will have greater understanding of God. They support each other. Asamshayam, with no trace of doubt. And samagram. Samagram means in entirety. Agra means the tip. You start with, let's say, you take a pencil in hand. You examine it from the bottom of the pencil to the tip. Agra means tip. Sam agram, agrena sahitam. That means totally, beginning to end. God's glory is infinite. Can anyone know at all the infinite glory of God? We would say, yes, many have known, and many are knowing, you too may know. And Vivekananda as Narendranath Datta asked Sri Ramakrishna, have you seen God? Can you show me God? To both those questions, Sri Ramakrishna answered in the affirmative. I have seen God and I can show you also God. But I need to first prepare you. I'll prepare you and then I will show you God. So, very interesting. How can the finite know the infinite? Ramana Maharshi in Saddarshanam raises the question. How can the finite know the infinite? And then with wit and wisdom, Maharshi Ramana answers, in order to know God, in order to see God, finally the only way is you become food for God. Swayam tat anni bhavanam tadiksha. Anna is food. Let God eat you up. Then, moment God swallows you, eats you up, you lose your finitude. Your complaint so far was, I am finite, I am alpa, I am simita, I am bound, I am bounded, I am limited. Who is that I? That I is not real. That limited I is a construct of thoughts, memories. The ego is a bundle of memories. Puja Chinmayananji used to wrote. The ego is a bundle of memories. Next time you are hurt about something, examine closely. It is a certain bundle of memories in you which actually is hurt. If you have a memory of how in your family your grandfather was respected in the town, your father was also respected much in the town, and you too are respected in the town. Memories. I am from such a reputed family. I am above everybody else. It is a memory. You were honored here, garlanded there, given some medal and trophy there. All those memories make you think of yourself as somebody very big. And then one fine morning, somebody insults you or looks at you and asks, who are you? Where did you come from? Or uses some unparliamentary words or unwelcome words. Man doesn't even talk to you. Man asks another person, who is this who has come here? Once I overheard somebody referring to some visitor. Where did this element come from? He did not even say, where did this man come from? Where did this element come from? So that hurts you. What? He doesn't know me? I am so well known in the town? And so on. That ego, which thinks one is very important, is a bundle of memories. Negative memories create a low self-esteem. Positive memories create a high self-esteem. And if one has divine grace, one stands apart from both these memories. And even as one recognizes somebody is insulting, somebody else is praising me, standing apart from the ego, we can remain unmoved. So, Maharshi Ramana says, when in deep devotion you become food for God, you do not remain separate. That is the Advaita vision of Parabhakti. In Parabhakti, God alone is. You have vanished into God. And that is possible through spiritual exercises. Mam yatha how you will know. Yatha janasi would have been the present tense. How you know, how you will know. Yatha jnasyasi tat Tat plus shrinu. Thus there are some simple sandhis, the Gita too. Tat shrinu becomes tat shrinu. Srimat Shankara becomes Srimat Shankara. Srimat Shankara Bhagavad Pada Agamishanti. So, very funny, you know. So, some sandhis are like that. Tat Shranu. Shranu means listen. Arjuna listened here. And to quickly see the word meanings of the second shloka also, this is where Sri Krishna says something which is so much an echo of a mantra in Mundaka Upanishad. A great learned Vedic scholar approaches a teacher who is established in the truth of the Vedanta. Shaunaka knew Veda, not Vedanta. And Angirasa knew Vedanta. So Shaunaka asked a question in Mundaka Upanishad. Kasminnu bhagavo vidnate sarvamidam vidnatam bhavati. O revered sir, I have been a Vedic scholar doing karma. This yajna, that yaga, this homa, this ritual, reciting this in so many ways. Karma Kanda is a vast body of Vedic knowledge, and Shaunaka was well versed in it. But still his heart did not know peace. So he asked Angirasa, tell me, is there something knowing which everything becomes known? Sri Krishna echoes it in this 7.2, 7th chapter, second verse, second half. Yat gnatva, upon knowing which, na iha, here no more, anyat gnatavyam avashishyate. There remains anything we know. You can gain such spiritual insight, a certain outlook, where there does not remain anything to be known. Bhuyaha, punaha, there won't remain anything for you to know again. Exactly as Shaunaka in his question itself had said, is there something knowing which everything becomes known? The first half says, Sri Krishna says to Arjuna, I will give you jnanam, jnanam vakshyami. Vakshyami is the future tense of vachmi. I say, vachmi, vachana, vakshyami. I will say to you now, listen with attention. Asheshataha vakshyami. I will tell you without leaving anything, without missing anything. I will tell you the whole wisdom. Vakshyami, asheshata. Jnanam, savijnanam. Sa means sahita, along with vijnanam. Jnanam, vijnana sahitam, savijnanam, vakshyami. So, that is the knowledge, that is the content which is going to be in this 7th chapter. And Adi Shankara, in his Prasanna Gambhira Bhāshya, that is in his language which is both solemn and pleasing. For the sake of being pleasing, he does not compromise with the dignity of the subject. In order to express the subject in a very dignified manner, he does not lose a sense of rasa, a sense of aesthetics. The words flow from the pen of Sri Adi Shankaracharya with so much grace and beauty. He says, Mai vakshyamana visheshane parameshware asaktam manahayasya. I am Parameshwara, the Supreme Lord. Vakshyamana vishesha. My visheshas, my attributes, my qualities, my various aspects, vakshyamana, are going to be told to you now. And anyone who is interested or whose mind is attached to this me, this Supreme Lord, Mai asakta manaha. What kind of spiritual insights he would come upon? Hey Partha, O son of Pritha. Kunti had a name, Pritha. Prithayaha apatyam puman Partha, Arjunaha. Some people connect this word Partha also with another well-known Sanskrit word, Prithivi, earth. Swami Chinmayananji used to first give the meaning, son of Kunti, and though he was from South India, he would enjoy sprinkling some Hindi words, lecturing in Delhi or Mumbai, or for that matter, Bangalore or Chennai, he would suddenly bring two Hindi words, Kunti ke bete, so on. That's how he would entertain the audience too. Kunti ke bete, oh son of Kunti. Then he also would say, Pritha or Partha has a link to the word Prithvi. Oh son of the soil, you are the son of the soil. People like to be told, you are of this country, you belong to this country. Even Mark Antony, while addressing Romans, speaks, friends, Romans, and countrymen. The third word is interesting. Friends, Romans, and countrymen. You are people of this country, this great country, etc. Patriotism, a sense of belonging, etc., have always appealed to majority of humanity, if not all. Therefore, Partha, O son of the soil, O son of Kunti, Yogam Yunjan, while practicing spiritual exercises, Manaha Samadhanam Kurvan. Once more, Shankara dazzles by showing a sense of context. The yogi here is not the yogi of Patanjali Yoga Shastra, though Patanjali's system of yoga also is intended to bring calmness of mind. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. But irrespective of those particular exercises, what is that, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and so on, with no particular reference to bhakti or jnana, etc., in simplest language, if someone samadhanam kurvan keeps one's own mind calm, madashraya ahameva parameshwaraha ashraya yasya saha madashraya. So, as the mind of you and me rises in spirituality, we spontaneously, effortlessly realize that only God is to be trusted. And we are with God. Parameshwaraha eva asmakam ashrayah. Shankara explains it, yohi kaschit purusharthena kenachit arthi bhavati. Saha tat sadhanam karma agnihotradi tapah danam va kinchid ashrayam pratipadyate. By and large, human beings are a distracted lot. They say they love God, they say they have faith in God, but in day-to-day life, with much anxiety, with much emotion, they actually depend on some other ashraya. They depend on maybe this rich man will help me, that politician may help me. I hope the new law that the government will pass will be in my favor. Oh, I hope the law will be favorable to me. So they pin their hopes upon this man, that lady, that political party. They're all ashrayas. Shankara uses the traditional language. In good old days, people used to trust a particular ritual. I'll perform this ritual and then just see how strong I will be. Even Indrajit took time off and was performing a very special ritual which he fully trusted and about which he thought, if I complete this particular ritual, I will be able to kill Rama, Lakshmana and all of them And therefore now, without allowing anybody to disturb me, I will go to this some special garden or some vana, Nikumbila or some such name. The garden had a name. He went and was performing some karma. And Vibhishana then says to Ram and Lakshman, don't allow Indrajit to complete this particular karma. If he completes it, sure enough, he becomes invincible. Accordingly, Lakshmana goes and gate crashes and destroys the yajna of Indrajit. Eventually, Lakshmana kills Indrajit, as we know in the story of Ramayana. So all those have a relevance to modern times too. If a boy thinks, oh, I will do engineering and my life will be good. Girl thinks I will become a doctor. If somebody thinks I become a lawyer, they think that this profession, this career, some think if we go and settle in Gulf country or England, in America or in Hong Kong, we are done. Rest of our life will be a bed of roses. Far from it. Wherever you go, there you are. Only when you awaken spiritually, England or India, Hong Kong or Muscat, engineer or doctor, chartered accountant or some businessman, married to the best spouse or a problematic spouse, no matter what, if you have spiritually awakened, you will take everything in your stride. But very few have that common sense, or very few have that spiritual understanding. They are all the time depending. Ashraya means depending. So Shankara says Agnihotra or tapaha, some do tapas, some dhanam. Kinchit anyam ashrayam pratipadyate kaschit ayam tu yogi, this yogi mameva ashrayam pratipadyate. Take shelter in me only. Hitva anyat sadhanantaram. Not easy. Giving up all other dependence. As I clarified before, outwardly you may do to an extent, but deep inside you know, if Krishna wishes, this will be done. Sri Ramakrishna was like that. He fully trusted Mother Kali. Everything is Mother Kali's wish. And his devotees also wanted to be like him. They even asked him in one interesting instance. They said to Sri Ramakrishna, you don't seem to be bound by any rituals, Sandhya Vandana or any daily rituals. We are also thinking of giving up all rituals from today or tomorrow morning. Sri Ramakrishna says, wait, you may not be ready. When at mere hearing of the word Hari, when you just hear name of God, your hairs stand on their ends, then you are qualified to give up, stop your daily rituals. Till then, you better be disciplined. Don't miss your Gayatri Japa. Don't miss your Ishtamantra Japa. Don't miss many other desirable daily spiritual exercises. So, Anyashraya Tyaga is not a child's play. We need to rise to certain height of spiritual awakening. Then we can do Anya Ashrayanam Tyagaha. We let go of our dependence on other things. Ayam yogi sadhanantaram hitva mayi eva asaktamanaha bhavati. Yes, tvam evam bhutaha. If you too become like this, evam bhutaha, becoming like this. Asamshayam samagram samastam. Samastam means what? Fully, entirely means what? Vibhuti, Bala, Shakti, Aishwarya, Adi Guna Sampanna. God has so much of Vibhuti, glory, so much of strength, Bala, so much of Shakti, power, capacity, so much of Aishwarya, being Ishwara. He rules. His word has its way. In this way, when you come to know me, yena prakarena jnasasi samshayam antarena, without any doubt, then you will be freed. But I am going to tell you how you may know me in all my entire glory. And the second one will touch more in the next class, but essentially Shankara says, Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Swa Anubhava Yuktam. Vijnana is Swa Anubhava Yuktam. So Jnana is intellectually knowing, Vijnana is personally experiencing the infinite glory of God, where your ego actually dissolves. When ego dissolves, your desire, your fear, your anxiety, your panic, your regrets, and 100 other things, all of them dissolve, because all of them hinge upon the ego. Tatsnena Vaksha means completeness. And the Krishna himself praises Tad Jnanam Vivakshitam Stauti. Stutim Karoti. He praises. How? Look, Arjuna, this knowledge which I am going to present before you is something knowing which yat jnatva uyaha anyat jnatavyam avashishya. There will not remain anything that needs to be known. Mat tattvajnaha yaha saha sarvajno bhavat. One who knows the truth of me becomes all-knowing. Well, all-knowing doesn't mean, it doesn't have to literally mean you can ask him any general knowledge question, anything about any subject. That's not needed in spirituality. What is meant is he becomes all-knowing in this sense. He doesn't suffer from the want of knowledge. You and I feel a little fish out of water. We feel out of place. We feel a bit low sometimes when everybody else knows things and I don't know. We don't know. In a get-together, when people are talking about some current event, we don't even know what they are talking about. Then our heart sinks. Oh my, I am a misfit here. Oh my God, and so on. That will not happen. You will know, you will eventually know if something needs to be known. So Sarvajna, he has that connotation too. And some siddhas, of course, literally know thing and everything. To ask that person top secrets of the world, he would know it. So he has connected to the cosmic mind. That is a siddhi. But that is secondary. We don't deny that such siddhi is possible. But the essential, primary meaning is being free from a sense of incompleteness. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.